They mocked her, interrupted her, tried to ruin her reputation. Now, they're the ones scrambling to save face. Karoline Leavitt had faced tough interviews before. She wasn't new to pushback, especially from the liberal media. But this time, this was different. This wasn't just a heated debate or political back and forth. This was an ambush. She was invited onto the show under the guise of discussing policy. That's how they framed it. But the moment she took her seat, she felt the energy shift. The tension in the room wasn't the usual clash of differing opinions. It was something sharper. The first few questions were predictable, basic talking points. And then, it began. One of the hosts leaned in, smirking. Their voice dripped with condescension. "Let's be real, Karoline. You're not here because of your qualifications. You're here because of loyalty. That's why you got the job, isn't it?" Gasps, murmurs, a few stifled laughs from the audience. Karoline didn't flinch, but inside, she knew. This wasn't an interview. It was a performance. And she was the target. She took a breath. Steady. Measured. Losing her cool? That's what they wanted. "I'm here because I've earned my place. If you disagree, let's talk policy, not personal attacks." But they didn't want policy. They wanted a reaction. Another host smirked, scanning the crowd before delivering the next blow. Earned or handed? Because from where we're sitting, loyalty seems to be the only real qualification these days. This time, the audience clapped. They thought they had her cornered. But what they didn't realize? She was just getting started. The next few minutes were a chaotic blur of interruptions, dismissive laughs, and loaded questions designed to make her look incompetent. Every answer she gave was twisted, reframed, ignored. This wasn't a conversation. This was an execution. Then, the final strike. One of the hosts, eyes gleaming with arrogance, went for the kill. "Women like you set us back. You're a pawn. And deep down, you know it." Silence. Even the audience hesitated. Karoline clenched her jaw, not out of anger, but out of realization. They weren't attacking her because they believed what they were saying. They were attacking her because they were afraid. And so, she smiled. Slow, deliberate. "If standing up for my beliefs makes me a pawn, so be it. But at least I'm not a puppet." Game over. The segment ended. The cameras cut. They thought the damage was done. They were wrong. The backlash. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, every major conservative news outlet. At first, the network tried to control the narrative. They clipped the segment, framed it as a spirited debate, pushed their usual talking points. But it wasn't enough, because the unedited version was out, and it told a very different story. Conservatives? Livid comment sections flooded with accusations of media bias, double standards, outright bullying. Even those who weren't Karoline's supporters couldn't deny what they had seen. They hadn't debated her. They had attacked her. And then, the sponsors got involved. Viewers weren't just angry. They were strategic. They started tagging advertisers, demanding answers. Why were they funding a show that humiliated women for having different political views? Some companies ignored it. Others released vague PR statements. And then, one of the biggest sponsors pulled out. Their statement was carefully worded. "We do not wish to be associated with divisive and unprofessional discourse." That was the first domino. And the rest fell fast. The lawsuit inside. A Washington, D.C. office. Karoline sat across from her legal team. Stacks of documents lay on the table, some still warm from the printer. "The defamation angle is strong," her attorney said. "But we can also argue professional harm. This wasn't just criticism. This was an orchestrated attempt to discredit you." The more they dug, the worse it got. Internal emails surfaced. Leaked messages between producers and staff revealed the segment was planned. Make sure she stumbles. Cut her off if she gets too comfortable. That wasn't journalism. That was a hit job. The next morning, news broke. Karoline Leavitt was officially suing the network. The network's response? Pure panic. They called the lawsuit frivolous, a political stunt. But it was too late. The courtroom was packed. Reporters filled every seat. Protesters gathered outside. This wasn't just about Karoline anymore. This was about media, accountability. Her legal team presented damning evidence. The leaked emails, the producer's testimony. Unedited footage proving the bias wasn't an accident. It was standard practice. Then, the moment that changed everything. A former producer took the stand. Under oath, she admitted. Producers were given pre-show instructions to ensure conservative guests never came out looking strong. Then, she read one internal email out loud, and the entire courtroom fell silent. Do not let her finish full sentences. Keep control. Mock lightly. Make her lose credibility. That single line shattered everything. The jury didn't take long. When the verdict came, the room held its breath. We, the jury, find in favor of the plaintiff, Karoline Leavitt. Gasps. Shock. A multi-million-dollar settlement. The network was forced to issue a public apology. And the show, officially canceled. Karoline's career, it didn't just survive. It thrived. She became a symbol of pushing back against media manipulation. Book deals. Speaking engagements. A stronger platform than ever. But she didn't use it to gloat. Instead, she left the public with this. To some, media isn't supposed to manufacture reality. It's supposed to report it. And that was a message no one could ignore. If this story made you think, share it. The conversation about media bias and accountability isn't over. Make sure your voice is heard. Subscribe for more stories that challenge the narrative. Because the truth, it always comes out.